to affirm the continuity of the message. The content of the prophet's message to mankind can be summarized as follows. A. There's a clear concept about God, his attributes, his creation, what should and should not be ascribed to him. B. There is a clear idea about the unseen world, the angels, the spirits, paradise, and hell. C. Why has God created us? What does he want from us, and what the reward or punishment for obeying or disobeying him is. D. How to run our societies according to his will. That is, clear instructions and laws that, when applied correctly and honestly, will result in a happy and ideal society. It is clear from the above that there is no substitute for prophets. Even nowadays, with the advancement of science, the only authentic source of information about the supernatural world is revelation. Guidance cannot be obtained neither from science nor from mystic experience. The first is too materialistic and too limited. The second is too subjective and frequently too misleading. Now one might ask, how many prophets has God sent to humanity? We do not know for sure. Some Muslim scholars have suggested 240,000 prophets were sent. We are only sure of what is clearly mentioned in the Quran. That is, God has sent a messenger or more to every nation. That is because it is one of God's principles that he will never call a people to account unless he has made clear to them what to do and what not to do. The Quran mentions the names of 25 prophets and indicates that there have been others who were not mentioned to the Prophet Muhammad. These 25 include Noah, the man of the ark, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. These 5 are the greatest among God's messengers. They are called the resolute prophets. An outstanding aspect of the Islamic belief in prophethood is that Muslims believe in and respect all the messengers of God with no exceptions. Since all the prophets come from the same God for the same purpose, to lead mankind to the one true God, belief in them all is essential and logical. Accepting some and rejecting others has to be based on misconceptions of the prophet's role or on racial bias. The Muslims are the only people in the world who consider the belief in all the prophets of God an article of faith. Thus the Jews reject Jesus and Muhammad, peace be upon them. The Christians reject Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and in reality reject Moses because they do not abide by his laws. The Muslims accept them all as messengers of God who brought guidance to mankind. However, the revelation which those prophets brought from God had been tampered with in one way or the other. The belief in all the messengers of God is enjoined on the Muslims by the Quran. Say, O Muslims, we believe in Allah and that which is revealed to us and that which was revealed to Abraham and Ismail and Isaac and Jacob and their children, and that which Moses and Jesus received, and that which the prophets received from their Lord. We make no distinction between any of them, and unto him we have surrendered. This is chapter 2, verse 136 of the Holy Quran. The Quran continues in the following verses to instruct the Muslims that this is the true and impartial belief. If other nations believe in the same, they are following the right track. If they do not, they must be following their own whims and biases, and God will take care of them. Thus we read, and if they believe in what you believe, then are they rightly guided. But if they turn away, then they are in disunity, and Allah will suffice you against them. He is the hearer, the knower. This is God's religion, and who is better than God in religion? This is chapter 2, verses 137 and 138 of the Holy Quran. There are at least 2 important points related to prophethood that need to be clarified. These points concern the roles of Jesus and Muhammad as prophets who are usually misunderstood. The Quranic account of Jesus emphatically rejects the concept of his divinity and divine sonship and presents him as one of the great prophets of God. The Quran makes it clear that the birth of Jesus without a father does not make him son of God, and mentions in this respect Adam, who was created by God without a father and mother. Truly the likeness of Jesus in God's sight is as Adam's likeness. He created him of dust. Then said he unto him, Be, and he was. This is chapter 3, verse 59 of the Holy Quran. Like other prophets, Jesus also performed miracles. For example, he raised the dead and cured the blind and the lepers, but while showing these miracles, he always made it clear that it was all from God. Actually, the misconceptions about the personality and mission of Jesus found a way among his followers because the divine message that he preached was not recorded during his presence in the world. Rather, it was recorded after a lapse of almost 100 years. According to the Quran, he was sent to the children of Israel. He confirmed the validity of the Torah, which was revealed to Moses, and he also brought the glad tidings of a final messenger after him. And when Jesus, son of Mary, said, "Children of Israel, I am indeed the messenger to you, confirming the Torah that is before me, and giving good tidings of a messenger who shall come after me, whose name shall be the praised one." 61:6. The underlined portion of the translation of Ahmad would be, "whose name shall be the praised one." And this is one of the names of Prophet Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. However, the majority of the Jews rejected his ministry. They plotted against his life and, in their opinion, crucified him. But the Quran refutes this opinion and says that they neither killed him nor crucified him. Rather, he was raised up to God. There is a verse in the Quran which implies that Jesus will come back and all the Christians and Jews will believe in him before he dies. This is also supported by authentic sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. The last prophet of God, Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was born in Arabia in the 6th century of the Common Era, up to the age of 40. People of Mecca knew him only as a man of excellent character and cultured manners, and called him Al-Amin in Arabic, meaning the trustworthy. He also did not know that he was soon to be made a prophet and receive a revelation from God. He called the idolaters of Mecca to worship the only one God and accept him as his prophet. The revelation that he received was preserved in his lifetime, in the memory of his companions, and was also recorded on pieces of palm leaves, on leather, etc. Thus the Quran that is found today is the same that was revealed to him. Not a syllable of it has been altered, as God himself has guaranteed its preservation. This Quran claims to be the book of guidance for the whole of humanity for all time, and mentions Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, as the last prophet of God. What they say about Muhammad. During the centuries of the Crusades, all sorts of slanders were invented against the Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. But with the birth of the modern age, marked with religious tolerance and freedom of thought, there has been a great change in the approach of Western authors in their delineation of his life and character. The views of some Muslim scholars regarding Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, given at the end of this talk, justify this opinion. But the West has still to go a step forward to discover the greatest reality about Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and that is his being the true and the last prophet of God for the whole of humanity. In spite of all its objectivity and enlightenment, there has been no sincere and objective attempt by the West to understand the prophethood of Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. It is so strange that very glowing tributes are paid to him for his integrity and achievement, but his claim of being the prophet of God has been rejected, explicitly or implicitly. It is here that a searching of the heart is required, and a review of the so-called objectivity is needed. The following glaring facts about the life of Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, have been furnished to facilitate an unbiased, logical and objective decision regarding his prophethood. Up until the age of 40, Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was not known as a statesman, a preacher, or an orator. He was never seen discussing the principles of metaphysics, ethics, law, politics, economics, or sociology. No doubt he possessed an excellent character, charming manners, and was highly cultured. Yet there was nothing so deeply striking and so radically extraordinary in him that would make men expect something great and revolutionary from him in the future. But when he came out of the cave, Hira, with a new message, he was completely transformed. Is it possible for such a person of the above qualities to turn all of a sudden into an impostor and claim to be the Prophet of Allah and invite all the rage of his people? One might ask, for what reason did he suffer all these hardships?